Hey everybody, it's Mac with Veterans Achieve Business Systems. Um, Today we have Ryan Argosino. I hope I said that somewhat correctly.
You got it.
I hate it when I mispronounce Ryan. Um, the Ryan and I met I think it was June 2 years ago. And I immediately noticed, and we were at a multi-function financial seminar that somebody had invited us to. And I immediately noticed how calm he was. And in my life, I recognize that, but I don't live it all that well myself. And Ryan called me up probably 4 or 5 months later and said, "Well, I don't feel like anybody's reaching out to me. I don't feel like I'm connecting," or something to this extent. And I said, "Ryan, I'm everywhere. I haven't seen you in 5 months." In that. And he was in his day job, I guess you would say, Ryan. And I don't know that you want to go into that part of your life, but I've been intrigued with who you are, knowing a couple different influences that we've gotten to know each other. And I'm looking forward today to, you know, get your perspective on, as you call it, the matrix, or somebody you're affiliated with, what they calls it, the matrix. So I'm going to let you enlighten us all.
Well, thank you, Mac, for that introduction. And yeah, I value the relationship we've had over all these years, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to be able to speak here. And yeah, as far as what I'm involved with, I'm a trainer, a certified trainer with an organization called Intermatrix Systems. And right now, I'd like to be able to address something that a lot of us are dealing with, and I still deal with myself, to be able to manage stress. And how do we manage stress in a certain way that is a little bit unconventional and that actually works? Because there is a lot of methodologies that I've used over the years, and the relationship that you and I had, Mac, in the past, I may have been able to show that I've been in a peaceful state, but there's still things that I need to manage. We all have to, on a certain level, when we're just being a human being, just going throughout our lives. And so I've got involved with Intermatrix because there were a lot of ways that I was dealing and managing with stress in my own life that just wasn't working. Raise your hand if you guys are dealing with some version of overwhelm, anxiety, or stress in some kind of manner. Can we all say that we all have something like that going on, right? And just to ask yourselves, is what we're doing actually working? And for me, I've been at this work for around 16 years now. I think that's a pretty long time to be involved in anything. And as I was telling Mac before this call started, the only reason why I keep coming back year after year is for one reason only, and it's because of results. I get results time and time again that actually produces something that is better than I ever imagined. I have these goals in mind, and they actually manifest in ways that I didn't expect, and in other ways that I did, but even more efficiently than I ever knew was possible. And so, what do we actually do to get inside of managing this way of being that we're all going to be facing? It's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when, right? Is when is this thing going to occur, and how do we actually manage it in a way that actually works? And so, what I'm going to do, as far as an outline goes for my talk today, is to be like, well, what are some things that people do, first of all, that aren't working, that aren't hitting the mark? Some strategies that we do that in order to manage this thing called stress. And then what do we actually do to be able to solve for these things in order to be able to produce real results that are actually compounding over time? And so the way that I found that these results actually work and actually get sustained over time is if we actually embody a way of being that actually is producing as a reflex on our behalf. Because right now, if we're inside of stress and anxiety, that's actually the go-to. That's the reflex that we go to. And it's something that needs to be trained in order for us to get out of that and step outside of that so that we get actually more efficient at what we're doing. Because if you think about it, for inside of all the things that I named, the stress, the anxiety, the overwhelm, doesn't it make you that less more efficient in order to get the things that you want to get done? It's just kind of practical in a practical sense. You can't think clearly. You don't have any kind of clarity in order to know what the next best steps are. And even if you do know what those answers are, you won't have the confidence in order to execute the thing that you already know while you're in that state. And so how do we shift that in a way where inside of the nervous system, we embody a way of being that works on our behalf, that we've trained and that we've chosen for ourselves, and that is our new advocate for when we deal with these different things in life that come up for us. So before I go into that, sorry, Mac, but I'm going to go into my story. So hopefully that it isn't
Oh,
too boring for you. But so as far
this
as
is you,
where
buddy.
I was at and how I got into this work was I was a very anxious and very shy person. You know, I was just somebody that didn't want to talk in front of a group like this. If you had told me 16 years ago that I was going to be doing this, I'd said, no way. I'm out of here. Get me out of this thing. There was an interesting poll that I remember hearing years ago that people were asked, what are you more afraid of, death or public speaking? Guess which one people are more afraid of? Kathy, you know this. What are people more afraid of?
Public speaking, baby.
Of
They'd rather
course.
be in the casket than giving the eulogy.
That's exactly it. That's the old Seinfeld joke. They'd rather be laying in the coffin than giving the eulogy. That was exactly my thing. But here's the thing. When I got inside of my work and I saw the impact that I was providing for people, I got over that. I got over myself. I got over the pride that I had about me and saying it's all about me. And now I come to realize when I come to talks like this, it's all for you. I'm here for you to be able to show you what's possible because I tell you guys, if I was able to do this, so can any of you. I mean that in a real sense, is that I could never do this sort of thing unless I was inside of the work that I'm doing now. And so back then, I was very shy. I didn't think I was particularly smart either. I just thought that there was something wrong with me. And then what I started to do, what I started getting inside of around high school was maybe I should just start applying myself. You know, maybe I should get into athletics. Maybe I should start applying myself academically. And so I actually did all those things. And then guess what happened? My grandmother actually passed away in high school. I had suicidal thoughts while I was in high school. I did not want to live anymore. I just didn't think there was anything to that I had a value to give to society any longer. But I kind of got through that somehow. I got to college, and I still thought academics was the way. I had to make my grandmother proud and do all these different things and get on the dean's list and do well in school. And I did all those things. I did get on the dean's list, and I got into grad school. I got into, Kendall already knows that I went to cytology school, grad school, which in that time was very selective. They only picked 6 people out of, I think, 80 candidates. And I was one of the few 6 that were chosen for that and made me feel very special at the time. But even as I accomplished that, I was thinking, I still need to do more. That insecurity never went away just by accomplishing the things that I did. Even when I was in school, in grad school, they were asking us to do this graduate paper, this research paper, and they wanted potentially one of us to be able to publish that in the abstract inside of a medical journal. And I was just like, I was half the people in my class, guys, were pathologists. They were already doctors. So here I am, some student coming out of a small college. And what do I have to offer here? I was just like, well, I'm just gonna enjoy the process and I'm just gonna do my thing. They actually picked my paper to be published. And I was the only one to have that happen. And I felt very happy about that and prideful. But guess what? My insecurity didn't go away just because I had that happen. I was like, well, I have to do more because maybe that was just lucky. Maybe that's just a one-off thing that happened and it can't happen again. So I have to prove myself constantly to be able to show that I deserve those accomplishments that I had. it always got to a point where I had to do the next thing in order to make myself feel better. But as I found, every time I got the result, almost every single time, it felt good in the moment, but only for a moment because the anxiety and the insecurity that I was driving from became larger. And so this is the thing I needed to get inside of was how do I change this dynamic so I actually not only get the result that I'm looking for, but enjoy the process along the way. It's no fun when you're going towards the outcomes that you're looking for and you're just panicked the entire time, right? How fun is that? I mean, you only have one life to live. If you are just going out there and waiting for the result to make you feel happy, well, what are you going to feel along the way? You're actually delaying that fulfillment until that thing happens. So why don't we get to a place of training that now? Why don't we get to a place of of getting inside of what do I want to feel and then actually have that as a way of being as we go towards the thing that we're looking to accomplish regardless of if the thing happens or not. Because here's the thing that I come to find. No matter what kind of success that you have, no matter how much money you actually are able to get, nothing will actually satisfy an unfulfilled heart. So we got to start from there. I started to understand, hey, I need to be inside of a way of being where I can actually feel good about myself and actually get to a place where I have value to give. And guess what? When I was able to find that value for inside of myself, I found a level of success that I never realized was possible for me, inner peace. Inner peace is valuable, guys. It's more valuable than anything that you can ever receive from anything from the outside world. And here's the thing, the interesting thing that I started to find was when I started to find that level of success for myself, I just wanted to give it to others. I just wanted to share it. And I'm just like, hey, you got to see this movie that I just saw. I know you'll love it. Or I heard this song that I know you'll love. This is the way I feel about this work. You got to do this. I know that you'll love this, and I just want to build this community of connection with people that are committed to living up to their fullest potential. And so I had to get inside of the things that weren't working as far as being inside of the finding that fulfillment outside of myself and look to within. I had to understand that it all starts with how I feel, the experience that I'm bringing to the things that I'm doing in the process. And so we want to go over a little bit about what doesn't work right now. And I'm sure that all of you have tried different methods that are similar to what I've done, but just my own experience as far as what didn't work for me was, I'll just start to list them up here. One of the things I did was say, not working, was I focused in on the past. I focused in on all these things that were going on in my past, things that happened to me, and the reason why I'm screwed up today, the reasons why I'm not capable or I'm not able to give value to people that I thought needed it because I didn't have anything to give because I was shy, I was running inside of anxiety, and all these things that happened in the past that were reasons, very valid reasons that I'd thought of in my mind that were actually valid as to why it didn't produce the result was because of all the things in the past. But here's the thing, if I kept on thinking about the things from the past, the anxiety that I experienced, it only exacerbated that. It only made me feel more of that very thing that I was trying to get rid of. So examining the past didn't really necessarily lead to me feeling any better. Another thing that I actually did was try to fix something that happened before, was actually focusing on some kind of trauma. My grandmother passed away. My mom passed away. These are all valid reasons for me to be messed up today and say it's because of their passing that I don't have any direction anymore, right? These were huge mentors in my life. These were huge influences that shaped me into who I was today. That's the thing that was the thought that I had in my mind is to say, hey, this is just who I am because of all this, what this happened before. If I start to identify with something that happened in my past, then there's no way for me to find a better way of being. I had to get inside of a way of being where I could relate to whatever happened in my past, and just instead of what do you call it? cultivating it and revisiting and rehashing those things in the past, I needed to get away from actually focusing in on the bad stuff that happened in life because we all have bad stuff that happened, right? But if we do that, if we keep on focusing on those things, now it becomes part of our identity. So that's something that didn't work for me when I looked to that. Another thing that people look to as far as something that they're trying to change is now whatever challenge is going on right now, right? They look to whatever is going on as far as current state and saying, hey, this thing is going on currently right now. I don't have enough money. I don't have the relationship that I want in my life, or my health isn't where I want it to be, right? We start to look at the things that are going on now. And then we use that as ways, at least I use them as ways to rationalize and justify why shouldn't it be moving forward. Guys, if we were thinking that way, we wouldn't have planes in the sky. There was a time in history when there were no planes in the sky. Somebody had to think about, hey, our reality is we're not flying right now. I want to fly. I want to be able to go into the sky somehow. So if they use their current circumstances at that time where there were no planes, we wouldn't be having the travel that we have now that we all take for granted. And we all complain about TSA and all this other stuff, but realizing at a time that didn't even exist. So I look at gratitude for when I'm delayed at a flight and just like at least we have that technology to be able to do that. And so, and so we got to get inside of a way of not paying attention to all of these different things because it seems real in the moment. And what I had to get inside of is understanding that there has to be a better way because this wasn't working. Every time that I went back to this, it always produced the same results. It always produced the anxiety, no matter what I did, no matter how much I accomplished. And it just didn't have the skills. I didn't have the skills to have the capacity in order to know a different way of being. And it's not your fault, guys, that you may have done the same methods that I did. It's not my fault either. We just never knew any other way. But this is traditionally how I came to hear from most of my mentors and teachers as to how to solve for this is to be able to go through these methods. And guys, it just doesn't work. We have to find new ways in order to be able to access new ways of being that we've never experienced before. And so for me, I came to find that I had to master this inner dynamic first. I had to manage the inner dynamics of my own thoughts and my feelings, my thought patterns. We had to understand that before behavior patterns actually developed first. The emotional patterns that I got inside of was just accidentally wired or by purpose. Who knows why, but it's not even relevant why it's actually there. It's just a matter of understanding that it's here now. And so this is the thing that I come to find that actually does work is let's start to look at, instead of looking the past, let's start to be future focused. Let's start to look at the life that we want to create. We have a curriculum, an entire curriculum in Intermatrix Systems that has to do with creating vision. So it has to start there. We have to be inside of, hey, what is the life that I want to create? And how do I get there? Start asking the questions, start putting your direction towards that future that you want to experience. Put your energy and your efforts into making that happen. And this is the thing to be able to put your attention on if you want a different result. Because the thing about it is none of your answers are going to, of what you want to create in your life lie in the past. In fact, looking to the past is just going to create more of that. You're just going to go inside the hamster wheel, and you're just going to actually just be inside of Groundhog's Day. You're just going to be experiencing the same type of experience over and over again, regardless of what you accomplish. We got to be able to be inside of, hey, what do I want to accomplish? More importantly, how do I want to feel when I get there? And so that was the first thing. Let's have a future focus. And rather than having a challenge focus, let's have an outcome focus. What is it that I want? What is the results that I want to have? And what is the way of being that I need to be inside of in order to create that? Well, I want to be inside of inspiration. I want to be inside of passion. And I want to be able to drive inside of these things as I'm producing that outcome. Because the thing is, if you haven't created that outcome yet, you're going to have to cultivate that way of being that's going to produce that result. Because more important than getting the outcome is how you're going to, the way of being that you're going to produce as a way of getting there. So, in other words, if I wanted to have like $1 million, say, and I built up the competency in order to get that way of being, and I lost the $1 million, well, now I have the experience to say, well, I know how I got there. I can do it again. Many times over, there's people that have said that, hey, they might have even gone through bankruptcy and they don't even relate to losing that money. They say it's just a learning experience, right? And that's the kind of attitude you need to have in order to have the real experience that you want to experience. Is what is the way of being I need to adopt that will produce that result, not only internally, but externally as well. And when you name this for yourself, it now becomes clear what the steps are to take in order to have that happen. And you become so much more efficient in getting there. What you thought would take 1 year, would take 5 years, would actually take you a year. I can say that from personal experience. When I got inside an outcome for myself as an apprentice, I thought I would never get certified as a trainer. There's no way it'll happen. I had zero clients around 2021. And then Joey, my mentor, was asking me one day, when do you plan on certifying, Ryan? And I said, I just threw out a date, to be honest. I was just like, I think I can do it in June of 2023. And at the time, I was just like, no way that's going to happen. I have probably 5 clients that I worked with, and I need something like 30 at this time. There's no way it's going to happen. I started to adopt a way of being where I started to have to adopt faith. Faith, believe it or not, is actually a skill that you develop and that you cultivate and that you commit to. When you commit to that way of being, then guess what? 2023 came around and I almost got certified 3 months before I had declared that I was going to, but I did hit the mark exactly June 2023. So I tell you this in a way of just having a certain sense of focus because the mind and the emotions will find ways to rearrange your life in order to make that happen. Almost make it an appointment for yourself. If this is something worthwhile to you, then having that focus and declaring that outcome is so key in order to be able to make that happen. And so the other thing is the last thing is to identify identify the current that you're engaged in that are not producing the result. Instead of a trauma focus, instead of focusing on the ways that aren't working and the things that haven't produced the result or the experience that you're looking for, let's start to look at the things that we're currently engaged in. If we still keep on engaging in those things, if I kept on identifying with losing my mom and losing my grandmother, well, that's not going to produce the result I'm looking for. There was something that the Dalai Lama was actually asked, how do we actually solve for depression? And he actually gave a very interesting answer. He says, you're asking the wrong question. You shouldn't be asking how to solve for depression. You should actually be asking, how do you produce joy? You should be examining joy. You should be researching it. You should be really be a student of joy rather than thinking about what was going wrong and the depression and all the things that are making you feel the way that you're currently feeling, because that's actually the answer as to why you're experiencing that now. So we got to be able to identify and say, hey, it isn't currently working for me to be able to look to those things in the past in order for me to produce a new future. I need to get inside of, hey, instead of being inside of anxiety, let me be inside of inspiration. Instead of being sad, let me actually produce joy. You need to be able to produce that reflex on demand to be able to be like, hey, this is the way of being that I choose for myself and I commit to it fully. And so for me, I was able to do all these things by becoming future focused, outcome focused, and identifying the things that are currently not working for myself. And I shifted all that stuff around. And guys, I can't even tell you the kind of results that I got that were just so meaningful for me that I was able to produce as far as results in all aspects of my life. I never thought I was a very desirable person. For whatever reason, this was something that got stuck in my head. Guess what, guys? I've been married now for 9 years. Okay, so that's a testimony to something that was actually something from my past that I didn't identify with any future. I chose for myself that I was. I didn't think I could ever swim. I was like somebody that was just like, no way, man, I can't do swimming. And I admire those triathletes that are out there, but I can't do that. I'm just going to be a runner. Guess what? I got inside of being inside of confidence and passion and enthusiasm. And in 2023, I was able to do this. My first Ironman in New York City in the damn Hudson River of all places. Somebody that's a germaphobe, biology student, right, Kendall? I know all the different nasty stuff that's in the Hudson River. And I tell you, like, I think 2 days before our race, there was actually a sewage spill about 2 miles upstream from the place that I was supposed to be swimming in. And I tell you guys, my anxiety went through the roof. I'm like, I don't know how if I can do this race, much less swim. And I've heard that other people went in that same area, got stung by jellyfish. And so that got in my mind as I was thinking about doing this race. And it turned out the night before they announced the swim's still on. It was clear, the water's still good. You guys are good to go and you can do it. And as I was swimming in there and I was doing the race, I saw like these little white patches in the water, and I freaked out. I didn't know if they were jellyfish or not, but I was just like, no way, I'm committed to doing this. I want the outcome, so I don't care if I get stung by these things. I'm going to swim anyways. Guys, it was the fastest swim ever. It was one of the fastest times ever for a triathlon going downstream, and I didn't even realize it. It was the fastest one, and I was able to finish the race. That led to another Ironman. I did two full Ironmans and 7 half Ironmans since. I love swimming.
Fear can be a good motivator.
Yeah, you got to leverage the psychological levers that are there in order to be able to produce the result. But I mean, I I look back now and I'm like, I'm not even sure how I did it, but I did. So that's another thing. And then as far as money goes with my business, guys, using this way of identifying with my emotions now, I was able to double, I'm not, I mean, more than double my business within the past 2 months by getting inside of the outcome that I was looking for, the future that I wanted to feel. I want to get inside of connection. I want to get inside of passion. I want to get inside of gratitude. And just doing that started to inform me to take new actions, do new things in order to be able to get that way of being. And so this informs you in a certain way. What I'm telling you is when you get inside of this way of being, you become more intelligent, you become more creative. And so we got to train this way of being so that you're able to produce the results that you want in your life more efficiently. And most importantly, you'll enjoy the journey along the way. And so that's what I get inside of is how do we train this way of being? That's what Intermatrix Systems is all about, is how do we train the being so that we actually live the life that we choose for ourselves, right? It's not something innate. This isn't something that we can figure out on our own. We have to be inside of systems. The beauty about the system that I'm inside of is I don't have to give anybody advice here. You guys all know how to handle your lives. I'm not an expert at giving life advice. What I am really good at is facilitating you in a way so that you're able to follow a system for yourself, so that you're able to find the answers for yourselves. This is about having self-empowerment to be able to give you the answers that are inside of you. We just have to be able to access that way of being inside of your nervous system so that you're able to access the answers that you already have. So the founder, Joey Klein, actually produced this whole system because he was in a lot of pain himself. His story is a lot worse than mine, but his whole motivation in order to create this system, this community, this family that we built together throughout the years is to be able to eliminate suffering as efficiently as possible and bring people access to lives better than they ever imagined. When I heard that mission statement, I'm on board. I was like, that is what I want to do because I've always knew that I wanted to make a difference somehow. I always knew that I wanted to impact other people in a certain way. I just didn't know how to do that. I didn't have a voice. Now, Intermatrix Systems gave me that voice. It gave me that opportunity to be able to impact people in a way that I never knew was possible for me. Here I am standing in front of all of you when I never thought it was going to be happening. Back 16 years ago, I just wanted to be in the back of the room. Now I find myself very comfortable being in the front. And it's because of the value that I give to people. It's because of the impact that I have that I've always wanted. And I tell you guys, day after day, it just gives me fulfillment to be able to know the impact that I've had on other people's lives. And I want to do that for all of you. And I encourage you guys, if you engage in this, I would love that, or anything else in your life that you think is helpful for you to manage, whether it be stress management or finding the kind of results that you're looking for in your life. I want you to look at one thing, the same thing that I've been looking at, results. That's the key. If you're getting the results that you're looking for, that's it. If they're not producing the results that you're looking for, give it some time, give it some due diligence, give it like a year or whatever modality that it is that you use. But if after that year you're not getting the results that you're getting and you're getting the same ones, well, that's the very definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. If you're not getting that for yourself, I encourage you to find a system that you can get inside of that will get you those things that you're looking for. Test this out. I mean, we've been around for 21 years now. We've helped around 90,000 people to date through our proprietary system. Proprietary meaning that nobody else has this because they're not allowed to. It's copyrighted. So we get all into understanding the things that I spoke about. How does this live in our nervous system? How do we get to a place where we're able to have the emotions that we're looking to produce for ourselves speak in our behalf, be our new reflex, our new delegate, our new way of engaging the different circumstances in our life. So the circumstances don't define who we are, but we get to define who we are in the circumstances. That is so much more empowering than letting life happen to you. So I want to be able to give you all guys the tools, techniques, and strategies in order to be able to produce that life for yourself, whatever makes sense for you. I'm here to show you the what, not the how. Whatever it is that you guys believe, I'm not here to change your beliefs at all. I'm not here to change your ideologies, whatever they may be. I'm here to produce a result for you, plain and simple. I'm here to be the advocate for your vision, not for you. Because right now, what we all want, what I want is I want to be comfortable. I don't want to have to do a thing. I want to keep on doing the thing that I've always been doing. Here's the thing about our psyche is we actually want what's normal. We don't want what's better. Our psyche does not want what's better. It wants what's normal. It's just the way it is because let's face it, guys, we're all lazy. We all want to be able to keep doing the same thing that we're doing over again because it's just a routine. Well, you know what? That could lead to the very thing that you say, you know what? I don't care. I'm used to doing this. This is what I've done day after day. And so your nervous system looks at it like, well, if I've done this way for X amount of years, I can do it again X number of years now. But the thing is you're losing time as you do that. As you delay that process, you're delaying the life that's possible for you and that you deserve. Yes, Mac.
So as I'm sitting here and that listening to you, I'm a believer that we have to identify what our issues are. That means we have to want to identify what our issues are. And does this system that you talk about so eloquently, is there an identification process? You know?
So the thing about it is if we identify with it, we get stuck there. Because if I don't know about you, if I identify with
Well, I mean, recognizing it so you can make the changes, not
that's different than
identify,
identifying with it, though.
absorbing it.
Yeah, that's very different than identifying with it.
Yeah.
If we say that, hey, this is the thing that's not giving me the result I'm looking for. If it's not who I am, this isn't, identifying me in a certain way, or this isn't part of my personality, but to say, hey, what do I choose to go towards? Because we have a new relationship of dealing with this in a way that gives us empowerment rather than having us stuck and saying this is just who I am.
You as a moderator or the coach, do you have, not that do you have the ability, but do you try to help me recognize the issues through conversation? I'm not my mother was a psychologist. I'm a counselor's worst nightmare. But I may not know. You know, I don't think that I'm introverted. I think most people would not put me in that category, but
I definitely would not.
yeah, but I still have fear, but it's more like you know, John Wayne, I'm going forward anyway. And but I don't always know why I'm going forward. So I guess that's what I'm trying to understand from what you're talking about, Ryan, is how do I recognize, maybe not identify, how do I recognize what may not be as perfect in my life if as it would be if I made these changes? Does your program, is there a written quiz? Is there a form? It's like we all see these things on, emails and funnels and stuff. Answer this, you get this answer. Answer this, you get this question. Then it goes down to another position. It puts you over in a different box. How do you take somebody that's coming in to talk to you to understand it's not a promise of what you're doing. I have to do something in addition to it, but how do I know what my goal is? How do you help me know what my goal is?
Well, I like this question because here's the thing is an awareness of a problem doesn't necessarily lead to the solution. Since we already know those things in the past that aren't working, it doesn't necessarily mean we know how to get past that. And so when you ask me, how am I able to find that, paraphrasing a little bit, that life that you're looking for your outside yourself, the goal of life is not to be able to find yourself, it's to be able to choose it. Everybody is chosen for something higher, not everybody chooses. So you got to declare that thing for yourself that's most meaningful to you and decide and commit to say, this is my thing to do. Not, I can't do that for you. None of the people on this call can do that for you. That's something you got to declare for yourself. And if there's something that we want to look to say in the past, any of these things have happened, well, we got to get rid of this stuff. We got to be like, hey, if this stuff did not exist, right? If none of this stuff existed, what would I imagine I'd be inside of? What is the future and the outcome and the identity that's currently keeping me from the past? So this is the thing that you can say that, hey, I'm getting stuck in a pattern that's keeping me from knowing this. So we got to be able to be like, hey, you know what? Let's not identify with this any longer. Let's choose for ourselves what that is. This is why I always say, I'm not here to show you the how. I'm here to show you the what. I can't tell you which emotion that you're supposed to choose or what way of being that is right for you. You have to decide that for yourself. I am here to say that, hey, if I want to know fulfillment as an example, if I want to be able to know fulfillment, I can show you how to feel that way to get there. This is what this system is all about, not relying on one person or even many, but to actually be inside of a system that gives you the results so that you're self-reliant.
Well, yeah, I love it. I immediately flashed when I first started repping in the photo industry. There was a guy that I worked with out of Las Cruces. And what I respected of that relationship, he would not make me take him to lunch every time I was there. He would only go to lunch if he bought one time and I bought the next time, which was unheard of in the business. And that the rep was always expected to do it, even though it wasn't proper. That's what everybody thought they were getting a free sandwich out of it. And he gave me a little thing that I still have up on my wall, and it says, "Who are you? What does it matter? Become who you want to be." And I've always related to that, in that I change different directions. If I recognize something that I'm not comfortable with, I try to change it a little bit. A lot of times I'm comfortable with it, and other people are not comfortable with it. But it's about me without being too much of a narcissist. But
No,
I
you got
love,
it. Here's the thing, Mac. I'll interrupt you for a moment. You have to think about yourself first because if you're not fulfilled, what do you have to give to anyone else?
and if
If
you
your
don't do
cup's
for
not
yourself,
filled,
how can you help anybody else?
exactly right. So this is the experience that I spoke of in the beginning, is when I started to feel a level of success and fulfillment within myself, I had so much more to give. The very thing that you want in life, whatever it is that it may be that you want, whether it be more love, more affection, more fulfillment, give it. Give it freely and don't expect it back. You'll find that you have so much more of it than you realize.
I know that you said that you're going to be at a conference in June. Um, I don't know if everybody could see your information. Sometimes I know when people come in after something's put in the chat, they don't get to see it. So you might put your information again. Do you want to encourage people that are watching live right now and are seeing this um, on the YouTube channel, Veterans Achieve Business Systems,
Yeah, so all you need to
to
do is,
contact you?
yeah, so I put my information in there. I copied and pasted it again. So
And
that's my, that's me, and I'm a IMS trainer. That's my webpage. And then the best thing to do is to be able to call me 520-275-0018. Leave me a message or text me, and we can set up a time, a quick call to be able to set up and see what I have to offer you. So what I usually do is I set up a 30-minute call with people just to kind of touch in and see if this kind of work actually makes sense, because I understand this isn't for everybody. Okay. But if we get through that initial call and it sounds like we make sense, then what I do is I offer a what's called an intro to Intermatrix, which is 3 complimentary sessions that I give in order to promote this work to see if it's a right fit for you. Normally, these sessions are $150 each, but because I want to promote my business here and promote my classes, I'm giving this complimentary. And the only thing that I ask in return is that you participate, because the thing is, it's complimentary, but it's not free. What you pay me for is your time and your participation. I expect that in return. And you show up for all of the sessions that we have. So that you get out of it what you put into it. And so I ask for full on effort. That's the way for me to know if you're right for my classes. And if you are, I will pursue you, just to let you know.
excellent.
And then along with that, you also get a copy of this book, The Inner Matrix, which goes into so much more detail than I'm able to give in this presentation here. It goes into all the neurosciences. What's beautiful about the system we're inside of is it marries the the things that we know about neuroplasticity, right? Neurosciences, and it merges that with the ancient wisdoms of the East. Buddhism, Hinduism, all these practices that were done for thousands of years, and marry it with the current science. You're not going to find anything like this anywhere. At least I haven't found it. Where we're inside of committing to a training, a way of being that produces real results that are sustainable, not just fleeting. And so with
I
that
love
being said, I'm so grateful for Kendall for being here, because she went out of her way. I did not ask her to come here. She actually followed, said, I'm going to be there. You're going to be talking. I'm going to show up. So when she's told me, okay, she's so insistent on being here. She's worked
Whoops.
with me, and so I just want her to talk a little bit about the experience it was like as far as doing an intro with me, and let her tell you what it was like in her own words.
Yeah, no, I actually I did his complimentary 3 courses and put in the time and the effort, and I found a lot of value with it. So he walked me through some meditation stuff. I'll give you like kind of an idea. Like we were working on like body image issues because I've always had that throughout my whole life. And so we did some deep meditations and kind of figured out like what the thought process is that's happening inside my head and what that leads to. And then he took me through a whole other process and showed me how to rewire my thoughts essentially whenever I fall into those bad habits of like, or like I'm not good enough or any of that. And it was actually really great. I really appreciated everything that Ryan did. I found a lot of value with it. He actually got me to start meditating again after that. So that's been cool. I've been trying to implement that into my schedule. And I do intend to join him in his classes as soon as I have a little bit of free time. But yeah, he really brought some deep things to light that I needed to address and showed me a way to rewire the way that I think about that. So he's awesome. Definitely meet with him.
I love it.
Thank you, Kendall. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Appreciate your support.
I'm looking forward to seeing you at conference. I'd encourage anybody watching the recording of this to schedule time with Ryan, um, verbally on a phone call or a Zoom. Definitely, if you're coming to the Achieve Business Conference in June, uh, schedule some time. Everybody gets so busy during the conference. Last I heard, we're expecting about 500 people to be attending. So just imagine trying to have a real meeting with 500 people. If you want time with Ryan, make him sit down for 15 minutes. Any other comments before I say goodbye for this week? I want to welcome John Wilcox. He and I just met recently. He's part of another group that I'm involved with. And hopefully, John, you'll come back again some other time. And Val, I don't know if you noticed, I just reposted your recording when you spoke back up on LinkedIn because I had people asking about it. So we're recycling past episodes, so to speak. So with that, any last questions, Ryan? Any last comments?
No, just reach out to me. Here's my number. Just send me a text and we'll set up a call and would love to connect with each and every one of you.
Thanks. I really appreciate you jumping on today. Everybody, have a great day and a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.
Thank you so much.